So Moza just made a massive announcement at Gamescom about their upcoming products, and it's actually got me pretty excited. So for today, I wanted to do a bit of a different video from the usual guide or review format, and just go over their new lineup, talk a little bit about the things I'm hoping to see Moza address, and then discuss a little bit about what this situation might mean for the industry as a whole, especially given the surrounding drama we have with Fanatec right now. So yeah, without further ado, let's talk about Moza. So there's a lot to go over here. We're talking 2 pedal sets, 2 steering wheels, a pretty significant software update, and a first-of-its-kind multi-function stocks unit. I just really don't like how that sounds. But yeah, probably the biggest news out of all of them is the M-Booster Active Pedal, and the reason why it's so significant is that we really haven't had any other options for this kind of technology other than the SimCube Active Pedal, and that product was actually announced almost 2 years ago in October of 2022. So for those of you who might not know what an active pedal does, in theory it's kind of the end game of pedal design. Like ideally you're able to adjust pretty much anything you want, from the end stop feel, the pedal travel, the brake force, and on top of that you can add all sorts of things like motor vibration, traction control, ABS, G-force, you get the idea. It's all kind of crazy. And yeah, at least for the SimCube and Moza pedals, these things should be adjustable straight from software, which is really nice since you don't have to get in there anymore with all the nuts and the screws just to make those changes. So with this technology, you basically are getting a lot more potential driving information, you're definitely getting greater immersion, and you can quickly swap between different car types. So you can figure out the hard versus not hard debate for yourself, because you get to choose, and now you don't have to try 2 different pedal sets just to find out what you like. And that's what's so great about this, right? Is it puts pressure on the rest of the manufacturers to start putting out more options for active pedals, and hopefully at a bunch of different price points, because yeah, like the SimCube pedals, they already exist and they're really nice, but they're also just really expensive. So hopefully we will start to see this technology become more and more affordable and see it on different platforms. But the other thing that I'm personally really interested in is that new Porsche wheel that Moza revealed. It's pretty funny because I've seen a fair number of comments floating around about how Moza made the ugliest wheel, or what a terrible design choice from Moza. But it's actually like here, in Moza's own words, meticulously replicated from the original CAD data of the real Porsche Mission R steering wheel. Every curve, button, and material closely mirrors the design and feel of the actual wheel. So yeah, I guess maybe those aesthetic grievances were misdirected, but in any case, I think the wheel looks phenomenal. At least from what I'm seeing in their promotional materials and renders, the quality seems really high, and the curved OLED screen, it definitely gives me a very sleek and futuristic vibe. So yeah, sure, the shape is definitely not for everyone, I get it, but I'm just really hoping that whenever the actual product comes out, that it meets the build quality standard that Moza seems to be teasing. Right? Because that's basically the trend that I've been noticing with Moza. They seem to be pushing for a visual quality increase and to start pushing into the higher end of sim racing products. Like, okay, no shade on Fanatec, but the R5 and R3 bundles from Moza are, let's just say, a bit more refined in their look and finish than the competition from Fanatec. And it's not just the products themselves, right? Like, as a video editor, I'm often pulling product images and promotional materials from these brands' websites. And I have to say, I really appreciate the more recent imagery that Moza has been putting out there. Like, it looks just so much better. So yeah, I'm just thinking, if we juxtapose the Porsche wheel and the recent Vision GS, and then we think about how they're working with big brands like Xbox and hopefully PlayStation someday, and then we think about the build quality of the budget options. It feels like there's a commitment to quality that is trickling down favorably, I would say, yeah, favorably throughout the Moza product line. And speaking of Moza's friendliness to budget users, I feel like the rest of their product announcements are also oriented toward a customer-forward mindset, right? Like the ESX steering wheel, for example, which isn't new, by the way. It's the wheel that comes with the Moza R3. But yeah, it can now be bought separately. And what that means is that you can effectively buy one wheel, this ESX, and then turn any of the Moza wheelbases into an Xbox-compatible unit. Which is amazing, right? Because it basically means that instead of having to buy a whole new wheelbase just to get Xbox compatibility, you can just buy a $140 wheel and call it a day. Like, sure, it's not the best wheel, right? But hey, it's probably a sign of things to come, right? But yeah, then there's also the non-hardware stuff we need to discuss. But before we get into that, I want to take a moment to talk about your one and only SimSportGadget. So if you've been watching our recent videos, or if you're a subscriber, first of all, thank you so much. But also, you might have noticed we've been pushing the YouTube side of things a lot more the past month or so, and we're really excited about it. But at the core, our company actually makes accessories and mods for sim racing. So if you want to level up your setup, or find some mounting solution, or pretty much anything else, give us a visit at SimSportGadget.com or visit our Etsy website. We have a ton of really fantastic products, and genuinely, if you go and look at some of the reviews, people really like our stuff. And yeah, we truly appreciate every bit of support you guys send our way. But anyways, getting back to the Moza content, we're getting a 3.0 force feedback software update for the R12 wheelbase, which will hopefully come to the other wheelbases too. But yeah, it's supposed to be a pretty significant update. They're saying it'll be smoother, it'll have sharper control, and then it should also have less oscillation on straightaways and more force feedback in turns. Which sounds great, but we will just have to see what happens when we test it. We have to try it out to know. But yeah, we'll definitely make a video about it once we do. We do have an R12 in the warehouse right now. And it's cheaper now. It's like $90 cheaper now. So even without the software update, that has to be a win overall, right? And then last but not least, there's the Moza multifunction stocks, which is basically like windshield wipers, turn signals, cruise control, etc. And apparently they're using the same components that they use for real vehicles. And on top of that, it has full third-party support, which is again a huge consumer win, because now you're not locked into using a Moza system, and you can just throw it on whatever rig setup you already have if it's something you're interested in. So yeah, it's really been great to see just how quickly Moza has progressed, because you have to remember that the company is really new to this. Like, they joined the sim racing industry in September of 2021, which is really not that long ago, like less than 3 years ago. And it's funny because they're actually not a new company. Like, if you didn't know, they've been around for a while now, but they made videography equipment before. And, well, actually they still do. They still make the video equipment like gimbals and vlogging cameras. But what's so odd about it is that if you look at their LinkedIn profile, right, it says that the company was founded in 2012 by automotive engineers and sim racing drivers. But they started with the video equipment first, and then they did the sim racing stuff. I don't know how that works. Maybe someday I'll fly to China and ask them. But yeah, anyhow, these past couple years, Moza's really cemented itself as not just a legitimate force, but actually a huge player in the sim racing world. And the way they've done it seems pretty good to me, right? Like, sure, their stuff hasn't been perfect, especially their early stuff, but I feel like they've genuinely made consistent improvements over time to existing products too. And it does feel like they make a direct effort to address what the consumer pain points are. I mean, yeah, we still have the overheating issue on the wheelbases, right? So I'm kind of sad that they didn't have any news for new wheelbases, but hopefully we'll see something soon. I'm sure they're working on it. Maybe for Christmas. And now that Fanatec is in a very tough spot, and I'd say has a pretty tarnished reputation, this has to have been the best possible timing for Moza to come out with a bunch of cool and high quality products. So we'll see if they're able to follow through on what seems to be a bunch of very exciting promises. But yeah, I think that about does it for today's video. Just wanted to share some of my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comment section, or tell me how you feel about this kind of more podcasty content. I'm still trying to get used to hearing my own recorded voice. But yeah, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for tuning into the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.